Hey everybody, back to Master, back with Marvel Heroes, and of course we got the new patch, and Invisible Woman is out, and she looks pretty good, um, at least skill-wise. Character-wise, she looks interesting, as way, just actual looks. Um, she's older than I thought she would be, I guess. Maybe she's 30s, but I don't know. She looks maybe even 40s. She looks older than me, and I'm 40s. So, kind of strange they went with the old look Sue Storm instead of the new look, but I'm sure they couldn't get Jessica Alba to agree to it. Oh well. That probably would have been a fortune. So, that was the only thing that kind of blew me away a little bit. They kind of went with a weird looking Sue Storm. But she's alright, you know. Second thing with the stat changes, she starts off pretty much in the medium of all the stats, which is alright. I'm not sure how high or so they go. I haven't logged into test to see what they've changed with her just as yet. And they're all new patches anyway, so I'm not sure if those would carry through to her live or not. So that'd be a good question to see how strong she is at 60. So that should happen. We still got the Reaper event going on, and getting her to 60 would be pretty simple. Her skills, they actually took, I think, a couple away, and they changed a few too. And they added a few from the test, which is alright, but it actually kind of makes me sad because she actually had some pretty interesting skills where she was putting some really cool shields up on players. She was kind of going into that support style, and now they kind of pulled it away. And she still can do it. She can do like invisibility to other players, and then she has the ability to do, I think it was bubble. Yeah, minor defense with some block, but there's no real damage absorption bubble. That's kind of sad. So they pulled that idea. I'm not sure why. I think that was a horrible mistake to pull that idea. That was a great idea going into it being more interactive with other characters. However, it's not. Still an alright kit. Kind of follows a few other characters. Really great looking stuff though. Fun to play with so far at low levels. At higher levels, it's pretty good. First time that I've actually ever saw a signature that's really multitasked, and I'm going to start with the signature actually, because when you hit it, it actually does damage, and then you can actually hit it a few more times to blow off the bubble effect. It basically puts 4 stacks of a bubble effect. Each stack reduces damage by 20%, and they'll last 8 seconds. And then you can blow off each stack by hitting the button again to do the explosion damage. And then every time you blow off a stack, obviously, you lose that damage negation. So it's kind of interesting to keep it up for a damage negation shield, and then you can blow it off for damage. My guess is you would keep it up for 7 seconds, and then in the last second blow off all 4. Why wouldn't you? But that's actually kind of a cool multi-purpose tool. I like that idea. That's definitely starting to think outside the box. And seeing how I started over here, I'm going to do a very strange thing and actually start from left to right instead of right to left. And her basic powers are actually in this dynamic force tree. And this is the first one. It's a force disc. It's a very basic attack, kind of coming out of, I don't know if you played Diablo 3, the Demon Hunter, but same style attack as one of the chakrams the Demon Hunter has. You throw out a disc, it goes to the end of the screen, and then it comes right back at you. So it's a boomerang effect, basically. Pretty nice basic attack to start with. And then Storm of Spheres is a basic AoE that you place down just like most other DPS style casting characters. You place it, it does AoE for 5 seconds and it goes away. It does damage twice a second. It has little spheres that go around. Pretty decent skill, not bad at all. Bouncing discs. She'll be popular for this skill. She is a bouncy person. She can actually bounce up to 9 times. She has the first hit and then 8 bounces. Very interesting fact with her. Definitely like that ability. Probably going to be the preferred basic power on her. Combat force fields. This is a passive. This passive gives you energy damage rating. All your skills are energy damage, so everything's synchronized that way. Gives you passive crit rating. Gives you bonus damage rating on spending focus. So every time you spend focus, you get a buff that gives you extra damage rating and a chance every time you do something to on hit to deal extra energy damage twice per second for 3 seconds. So you get for 3 seconds the damage rating, and for 3 seconds a proc chance for extra damage. And then of course we went over what quantum compression is. That's the signature. It's pretty good. We got cascading force here. This is another ranged ability. This is interesting because what this does is actually make a constant beam of, it's a cone beam. If you remember the old channeled wiggle skills, like Cyclops' wiggle, where you just hold down the button and wave it around the screen. She actually has that. That's what this does, except it's actually cone, so it does a bigger area effect, and you can wiggle it. So it's interesting they put a wiggle back into the game, because they took all the wiggles out and they made them pulses where it just goes zap, 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 zap twice a second. That is not happening with this skill. This skill just basically burns through the screen. So I don't know if it only applies the damage twice a second and the graphic just shows a beam going out, but it's kind of cool. And the Crusher. This is an interesting skill for sure. You can summon up to 3 spike balls, or huge spike mental balls, that roll around the screen and chase after mobs. They roll incredibly slow. The mobs can outrun them usually, or run at least as fast as them. So they have a tough time keeping up with mobs. I did not find them so fantastic. So not really impressed by the Crushers. Resonating Wave. This is something they modified to add spirit and on hit to you. Actually, it's not even on hit. You just use it. It gives you spirit and your allies spirit, and you can do it every 4 seconds. However, it's a point-blank area effect, so you have to be in the thick of it. And given how low her durability is to start, I don't think I'm going to want to be in the thick of it with her. So, not sure how great of a skill this Resonating Wave really is. Invisibility. This is going to be working into the second core mechanic besides damage shields or absorption shields. She's also going to be working into going into an invisible state, and she's going to have pure invisibility, or true invisibility as they like to call it. Whereas you can be in a combat state and still stay invisible. It's not going to last too long. It's going to be 2 seconds, and it has a 2-second cooldown. But you can do it, and you restore spirit and get some movement speed out of it. So that's very interesting. Invisible Combat. This is a passive that's a toggle. So you can turn it on. First off, it will deactivate protective spheres. We'll go into the protective spheres in a moment. But by activating it, you gain damage rating to unaware targets. And then when you break combat, when combat is actually considered broken by the computer, you slip back into invisibility. So you'll be invisible as long as you're not in combat. So this is not a true invisibility. This is a stealth mode. And then Protective Spheres is a toggle mode. You activate it, and basically you gain defense chance or defense rating and a block chance, and it reduces your maximum spirit as well. So those are your active choice abilities to have up. So that's kind of interesting. And this invisible combat, invisibility should get you a long enough. Well, you should be able to use it because you have a total of 3 focus. You should be able to stay invisible long enough to break combat for invisible combat to get you into invisibility, in regular invisible, permanent invisibility. So you can actually break combat with a boss and reset everything and reset up as you want. That would be the interesting combination I see working between these 2 skills here. So that could make her very powerful in Cosmics, being able to break out of all combat and reset the fight as you wish, seeing how bosses don't really regen. Personal Force Field. This is basically a passive that gives you defense rating, projectile deflection chances, health on hit. Pretty sure it's an internal cooldown of 1 second, but you might as well have it. And then, of course, invisibility. When you go below 20% health, it will put you into an invisible state. I'm not sure if it's a true invisibility or not. I have a feeling it is because it's an oh-no kind of invisibility. Either way, it's still awesome just for that fact alone, that it makes you invisible when you're low on health. Seeker Orbs. This is definitely an interesting skill. They work kind of like Iron Man's missiles, Hulkbuster squirrels. They don't do quite the damage. They have the 3-second cooldown just like Iron Man's missiles. I think his missiles are much better, micro missiles. But if you're looking for a build that allowed you to run around in stealth and then fire off some missiles and stealth again, this would probably be the skill that you'd want to use. However, they don't necessarily lock on to targets. Even if you're targeting something, they can get displaced. And with no other real way of firing extra range things, except for maybe the Stormospheres, you're kind of limited in what you can do at range. Iron Man's a little bit better at dealing with more range stuff. Conceal allies. You can actually make allies stealth. It has a 12-second cooldown for a 2-second duration. And even if you had another invisible woman in the group, they couldn't be stealthed again for 12 seconds. Anyways, any allies. And you get 83 damage rating. But this is obviously at low level. And, that's taking invisibility to a group level. And then we go over to Static Force Tree. We got Shield Blitz. This is going to be your basic charge move, or your basic get away from wherever you are move. Crushing Force. Probably not going to be so popular at the end, but very good in the beginning. Good move to use while leveling. It basically puts a shield that hits a good amount of enemies and can one-shot for quite a while. Levitating Disc is your flying move. Pretty awesome. Just like when you walk and you put a disc underneath you, this one will put a bigger disc underneath you and you'll fly. Crashing Wave Style. This is a very interesting move. It started off as purely actually a melee move, and they upgraded it to a full range move. So this is actually a ranged move. It's pretty decent. I like it. You'll probably like it too. It's one of the few that actually does good damage at range for the spirit cost. Protective Spheres. This is the one that they changed. Now it just does damage rating. And the block chance does go up. I think you can get it up to about 10 to 12% block chance. So that's not terrible. Force Spikes. This is supposed to do damage. At least it used to say it does damage. Using your focus to counter direction of spikes that are slowing and damaging enemies. However, it doesn't say that there's any damage here. and then even in test server when you use it, it doesn't apply damage. So that'd be the second skill that I know is probably bugged. The first skill is invisible combat. It doesn't always slip you into invisible mode when you're out of combat. So she did get released with bugs. Go figure. So force spikes, if they add damage to it, it could be good. It does a pretty big size AoE, probably about the size of the shield symbol on the floor here. So that's the same size as the storm spheres. And then shield dome. This is actually pretty interesting. You put points into it, you can get the damage negation part up to about 20% chance, and then you pop that with your quantum compression here, and that would be 100% damage negation. You're the only character in the game that can really do that, and you'd be able to do that for, well, 5 seconds anyways. But also makes you immune to crowd control, gives you some defense rating, projectile reflection chance, and you can do that for 5 seconds every 15 seconds, and it costs 1 focus. So definitely some interesting things there. I imagine this combination probably getting nerfed, unsure, but maybe it's not really that broken of a combo. 5 seconds every 30 seconds to be 100% immune. Not terrible. No taunt, so you can't really fully take effect of it, but that's the Invisible Woman's skills. Like I said, I can't really tell you what her stats are going to be at 60 quite yet. We'll have to wait and see. I can tell you she has Shield and Fantastic Four as her insignias. That's about it. So she looks interesting. She's been fun so far. Nothing game-breaking or completely out of the box as of yet. They changed that. She would have been out of the box if they didn't change her. It's too bad. You know, they thought about it and then somebody pulled the plug on it, and that's the way it goes. So hope it helps. Hope you guys enjoyed, and talk to everybody real soon when she's 60.